should know me by now, but if you don't, no, I'm only joking. Yeah, I am Jay, aka Jay, the personal trainer, aka Jermaine, aka Get to Know. Only joking. Nah, but yeah, Jay, the personal trainer, Jay to our friends and family. Yeah.
Jay, we're doing this series, working to work out, encouraging people from our community, not excluded but exclusively due to the impact the last 2 years has had on our health, and to generally look at our mental health, physical health in general. This is a national lottery funded incentive. So you as a personal trainer, and some things I'm working, because I work with young people a lot as well. And nowadays, being fit, being healthy, technology involved, it's looking kind of hard for me to motivate other people to kind of do their thing. So I'm just trying to stick on it. In your gym or where you train, do you see a lot of our people in there? And if you...
You know what? I do, I do and I don't. Like, it depends, innit? Like, what I've noticed...
Were they more young?
Yeah. What I noticed is, when it comes to fitness and our community, in a sense, like, you'll catch, it's an age group thing. So depending on your age group and that, depending on where you'll go. So when you're first starting out in the gym, you'll probably tend to start off in your community gyms, your local leisure centres, and your backstreet gyms. And then as you get to a certain age group, then you think, you know what, I need a gym. You get me? And then you'll go to your commercial gym, or you'll go to, like, I wouldn't say, like, when I say commercial gym, like, in brackets, like, you type a pay monthly, direct debit setup types of gyms where they're, in a sense, they're 24 hours, they're not 24 hours, but you get what I'm saying? Like, there's loads of chains about of them.
Okay, like a subscription.
Yeah, like a subscription type gym. And then you've got, like, your upper end gyms and that, which are like your posing gyms, and it, like, your personalized little smaller places which they want to make those members feel like they're hella exclusive. So depending on how much money you want to spend, and you invest in your fitness, depends on where the age groups and different people go, as well as their age dependent. You get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people tend to stick to most of the people from the community, like, the man them will stick to that little localized man them gym, innit?
Okay.
And that, unless they're actually interested in their fitness, their health, their appearance and stuff like that, then they'll start venturing out. Like, I've got friends who are members at 3 or 4 different gyms. I got friends who ain't even a member at a gym. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's so polar opposite, all in the same age group, so it can be so polar opposite. It just depends that kind of like on the person itself, but then it also depends on, like you said, the motivation factor, what makes them want to go to gym. Like, for some of the guys that I know that go gym on a regular basis, it's because they've always been into sports as kids or whatever, football, athletics. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that for some man them, it's just health related reasons, had health scares, friends and family had health scares or whatever, or kids, they got kids and can't be running around the park with the daddy belly, and you see it, can't breathe, chase up the youths, then playing football and that. So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's always got to be some form of motivational factor, but it depends on how big that motivational factor is, depends on how much someone sticks to what they up to and choose, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It does what you're saying. And that's what I was going on, looking at and talking. People in their house playing computer, eating crisps, eating food. Not saying no one can't eat what they're eating, but I know in their mind, they're like, I want to get fitter. I want to look hench. I want to do some push-ups. I want to start in my house. Once I get my levels on, then I start going gym. But it never happens. And then that cycle of, it frustrates them. And I'm like, well, how do...
I feel,
a
lot of people though, and this is one that I've always seen when I speak to people, I realize this. For a lot of people, it's lack of knowledge and also lack of wanting to ask questions. like certain people don't want to ask certain questions because they don't want to seem silly in a sense, or like they feel like, oh, I should know this or whatever and that. And then some people, it's in a sense, you got to look at it, yeah. Regardless of whether you speak to a personal trainer or whether you speak to a doctor or you speak to a nutritionist and that, like, especially in our community, we have a lot of self-pride, and self-pride can always be a damaging thing as much as it can be a glorified thing, because, like, where we have so much self-pride, we don't open up about certain things that we should open up about. So if you're sitting in front of your doctor and your doctor's asking you, yo, why, like, how come your blood pressure's so high? What do you eat? What's your diet? You're not gonna really open up about the full truths ins and outs. You get what I'm saying? You're gonna be like, oh well, just eat chicken and rice and you get what I'm saying? But you're not saying to the doctor, well, yo, I'm a chicken. I'm putting salt, all-purpose seasoning, jerk seasoning, rare, this, that, this, and not to say that you shouldn't, not to say that your food's supposed to taste bland and stuff, but what I'm trying to say is, if the doctor's saying to you, yo, you got high blood pressure, and you're saying, yo, yeah, all I'm doing is eating this. If you break it down and you look at it, every little piece of seasoning you're putting on your food all contains salt in. So that's why your high blood pressure, you get what I'm saying? If you can always trace back some form of area where you're going wrong and then see, okay, now let me see, that's the area I need to start rectifying in to start to trying to make the correction. And then another thing I feel is, like, not just in our community, but in society on a whole, it's instant results. Everybody wants instant results because everywhere they look, especially with social media, you see instant results. You get what I'm saying? Like, you see people being successful instantly instead of people going the long, slow of doing things. So because someone does certain things successfully, quick time, and that, and even the ones that do things in a longer method of it, they only condense everything they do and show it looking like they've done it in 3 months when it really took them 12 months. But the way they've mastered it, they've only showed you the first month, and then they've showed you the last month and little choppets of any months in between, and then compiled it together. And now you look at it as, oh, have you seen such and such's documentary, or have you seen such and such's weight loss transformation?
Yeah.
And that, well, not knowing that, yo, this person's been grinding behind closed doors day in, day out, and they can afford to have this, or they can afford to have that person there to constantly make sure, or they can afford to have this person or this company constantly cook their food so they stick to this regime. Now, that's where a lot of people go wrong. Everyone wants instant results, and then if they don't get instant results, it's disheartening. And then when it becomes disheartening, that's when you revert to, well, why should I forget it? I don't care anyway. I'm just not going to try because I've tried and it's failed.
And we fall back into that vicious circle. It makes you more ill, and you do the things that you get against anyway.
Exactly.
So that is an issue. Same with, like, the doctors, like you're saying. A lot of us don't go to the doctors because we're all right. We ignore the niggly issues, minimal symptoms, until it bites us like prostate and we can't do it, and it starts showing internal pain. And then we're at the doctors. So
and by then we're too far gone.
Yeah, we're too late.
It's too late, and then it's like, did you hear about such and such? No way. There's such and this that happened to them, and now they've only got X, Y, and Z, and it's like everyone's in a shock. But deep down, this person didn't want to admit to their doctor 6 months ago that, yo, every time I eat this, or this is how I'm feeling, and they've just brushed it off to, just take this, or this ancient remedy of this and that will work. Like, not to knock ancient herbs, medicines, treatments, whatever. Like, they're good, but sometimes not every ancient medicine and herb can treat everything. Sometimes you have to go and speak to someone. You get what I'm saying? Just to hear a different opinion, not to necessarily, like, demolish what you're thinking or you're feeling and that. Like, you can go to a doctor and still not want to take any actual medical prescribed prescription, but at least going to speak to that person, and that person analyzes you from a professional point of view and says, yo, this is what could be wrong with you, or this is what's wrong with you,
Yeah.
and you need to reduce this by X, Y, Z, or you need to work on doing X, Y, Z, then they've given you the solution. Now, how you take up that solution is up to you, innit? Like, you take that prescription, then you're following whatever, which some people don't want to do that, which I understand. That's fine, innit? Like, but either way, it's the whole point of going to speak and feel open to speak to a professional, to then hear what a professional has to say. And that's a major factor in our community where we don't do.
Well, I think what we're doing is giving people another alternative motivation to do that, you know, because the reason why you're listening to this podcast and actually tuning in is because you're halfway there, you're interested, you want to know how, you're asking questions to yourself, and we're giving you answers. So another thing, like the whole gym thing, I don't want to go there and like, I can't be asked, it's long, and I'm not even going into the finance thing, but I will start, what can I do on a day-to-day? I don't like jumping, skipping rope. It makes me, a bit nervous, and people might see me. So what can I do in my own space, my little thing, just to get myself motivated and keep me kind of going? Because I'm not a runner.
Yeah.
I'm not, do you know what I mean? That type of...
Like, I always say to people, like, there's always going to be some form of barrier. And it's how you look at that barrier is how you progress. Now, like you said, I know people who are or would consider themselves overweight, obese, big, like whatever terminology they want to put on it, and they will be like, well, I'm not confident to do this. I don't feel confident to go into the gym and do that. I don't feel... And the very first thing I always say to people is, just go in the gym. Don't do nothing. Just go in the gym and just walk around the gym. Just do one full lap of every area in the gym. Like, even if you make it look like you're kind of on the phone and you're looking for someone or whatever.
Style it out, look cool. Yeah.
But just, I guarantee you, if you go in there and do that,
Can you go to the gym and go there, or do you have to have a membership to go in there one time?
Even if you go on a tour, sometimes just go on a tour. But, like, the difference is, you see, when you're going on a tour, that's going to, like, to me, if I'm in a gym myself and I see someone on a tour, then I'm like, okay, then this person's potentially looking to sign up. So then that's going to kind of draw my attention to someone, if that makes sense. And it's just like...
Yeah, but maybe I don't want to go on a tour, because if I go on a tour, I'm pressured to sign up.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So if you don't want to do that, then many gyms nowadays have virtual tours and that. But my whole premise that I'm trying to say is like, just go to the gym, have a walk around. Even if you pay for a one-off session or a trial, most gyms kind of will be open to do a potential trial and stuff like that, or just pay for a day pass if you want. You get what I'm saying? Go with a friend who probably is a member there or whatever, and just pay for a day pass, because then that way, if you go with a friend who's a member of that gym already, then they will show you around the gym, so it doesn't look like a member staff showing you around the gym, so it doesn't draw more that attention. You get what I'm saying? To say like, hey, look, I'm a newbie. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that, so then that stigma's already gone. But if you go around to the gym and that, and you with a friend, and you just walk around that gym, and then you just go and do whatever you want, cardio or whatever, guarantee you no one will look at you. Like, guarantee you can't even remember 1, 2, 3 people who even looked at you or whatever, because everyone in there is saying the exact same thing in their head. Like, if you turn around and ask half the people in there, half the people are saying the exact same thing in your head. I don't want to be in this area. I don't want to be here because this person, I don't want this person to look at me. I don't want that person to look at me. No one's looking at you. It's all in your head, because then if you start saying to yourself, yo, this person's looking at me, that person's looking at me, rare, you start giving off like a kind of like a vibration. Like, it's weird. Like, you can't physically see it, but you can kind of feel it in a sense. When someone walks in the room and they're anxious, they're nervous, it exudes that in the room, regardless of what room it is, whether it's a boardroom, whether it's in a supermarket, whatever. Someone goes into an area and they're uncomfortable in themselves and being in that surrounding, straight away it sticks out, because everybody else who are comfortable, just getting along themselves, automatically feel that shift.
Yeah, there's a vibration that you bring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that draws your attention. So by you creating all this, all these negative barriers in your head. I don't like to jump. I feel too big. I'm nervous. I don't want people watching me. You get me? If it's man, I got man boobs, or if it's a woman, I don't want the guys in there to be perving on my legs and my bum. Like, you know what? Like in life, like someone's gonna look at you in that way. Like, let's be honest, let's be real in it. Like, there's always gonna be a small percentage of people who are always gonna let the rest of the good people down, and it's a small percentage. But like, I guaranteed when you went to pick up your kids from school, you didn't realize how many dads in this playground were looking at you in a certain way, or how many mums were looking at you. You get what I'm saying? It's because you're in an environment that you automatically feel uncomfortable. Now you've heightened your elevation to feel this way. Because you've heightened your senses that you feel this way, it now creates more attention to you. So then it's like you're drawing in that negativity. Just go into the gym and just be like, yo, I'm here to work out. Yo, do I know what I'm doing? Yeah, safe. 9 times out of 10, if you look like, and it's bad, the whole saying, fake it till you make it. But if you go into the gym and you look honestly like you know what you're doing, with a good 75% inkling of you know what you're doing. When I say a 75% inkling, I mean like you're doing whatever you do with good form,
right,
so to speak, then you can fake it, right? No one will bother you. No one will think, right, this person's new or whatever. You get what I'm saying?
So that's what I'm saying. For someone that's new and they've come in, they've got their membership, or they've gone for a tour, they think they're doing, they've watched 1 or 2 YouTube. What do you recommend for those that I ain't got a personal trainer yet? I know I want to do my Wingo Beings. Or
Wingo Beings, or Bingo Wings.
Bingo Wings? I don't know
Wingo
these
Wings.
common sayings.
Yeah,
bro.
I know what you're saying, but I've switched it around.
Yeah, it's late. But like, they want to fix up certain parts of their body, but see a big heavy machinery with, levers and diaphragms that light up certain things. This is what I always
say to people.
What can they do to kind of prep for them things if they ain't got a trainer yet, an advisor?
So this is what I always say to people, no matter what it is, you should always go and speak to a professional. So go and speak to someone that works there, and you'll be surprised, 9 times out of 10, the gym staff, with the managers down to the personal trainers, if they've genuinely got the time and they're free, they would genuinely be happy to show you, providing you come across like nice and like respectful and all of that, in a sense, like not rude on your approach or whatever. They would genuinely probably show you what you have to do, because 9 times out of 10, they want to just kill time. So to them, talking to you and showing you what to do is better than them having to probably like go and do something else, set up for a class, go and wipe down some equipment.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Do some room checks. They'd rather do that. You get what I'm saying? Like, and it's interaction for them. Like, they'd rather spend time talking to someone and that. Because most of personal trainers are genuine people person. Like, people, like, they want to speak to people. They like speaking to people, because you wouldn't get into that field if you didn't, because it's a job where you got to interact to make money. So, and you got to speak to people. So it would be a bit silly if you jumped into a field that you didn't like to speak to people, where you've got to speak to people to make your main source of income. But anyway, but like it says, always go and seek a professional's help. Just say to them, hey, listen, it's just kind of new, not familiar. Even if you don't want to sound like you're a super newbie, just turn around and be like, you know what? Hey, just joined this gym. Not really familiar with this brand of equipment that you have here, because I used to use this different style of equipment in my other gym. If you mind, could you just show me how to set up everything, adjust the chairs for my height and stuff like that, X, Y, Z,
Okay.
and that. They'll be like, you know what? Fine. What do you want to work on? What do you normally use? If you say, you know what? Generally hit everything. Yeah. I don't really tend to have a specific focus. I just know that my main goal is tone up, whatever. But when it comes to equipment wise, I genuinely try to use everything. Then that way, even if you don't know what equipment is, you sound like you know what equipment is. Yeah. And then the person's not going to then just generalize and show you 1 or 2 pieces of equipment. They'll probably show you quite a lot, because they'll be like, well, in in your gym, did you have one of these? Or did you have one of these? And then that leaves you open to turn around and say, well, you know what? We did have one of these in my gym, but it was a different brand of machinery and it kind of operated different. You won't mind showing me. And that there, by just saying that there, that's you're opening yourself to kind of like let them know. You're not letting them know, but you're letting them know that you don't know what you're doing in a sense.
Okay.
But then it's still getting that information. So you're not looking like, oh my God, I'm a brand new newbie and I totally don't know nothing.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
That's the hack thing. That's what you say, hack it.
It's a hack. But like let's look at it. It's a hack in it because at the end of the day, fake it till you make it, innit? Like, just have a little bit of confidence behind you, and then just taking that little bit of confidence will then exude into what you're saying. And then once you start getting started, they'll be like, okay, then, well, you want to do this and you want to do that, and they'll give you that genuine help. Or you can just genuinely turn around if you feel confident in yourself and you feel comfortable with the person that you're talking to. Just genuinely turn around and say, you know what, I'm new, don't know what I'm doing, not been gymming ages. Don't know where everything is, don't know how to work things out. What would you recommend? Or could you genuinely just show me how to set up for a basic, what would be good for a basic all body workout or whatever, what equipment would be good to use? Once again, they'll probably do that because most gyms offer inductions but it's just the members don't ask for inductions. And that's the thing, innit? Like, it's like if you go to a restaurant, I'm not gonna turn around and tell you, do you know how to use your knife and fork? But then if you go to Nando's, you're only gonna have one knife and one fork in it. Yeah. You go to a fancy restaurant and like a proper 5-star restaurant,
it's free.
You could have three forks.
Of each,
Exactly. Now, when you go to the fancy restaurant, man, don't come over to your table and tell you, yo, this is your quenelle fork. This is...
No, they assume you know what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly how it is for a gym. Yeah. So if you don't turn around and say to the waiter, yo, big man, listen, what's what?
Because you don't want to look stupid and don't want to look what you know what you're doing. Yeah.
So, and that's exactly how it is with a gym. So if you don't say that to the gym members and to the gym staff, then you're going to look silly because no one ain't going to help you, innit? Everyone's going to assume. So you just go there and they say, yo, I'm not sure how to use this particular style of equipment because it's not the same brand that I used to have in my gym. My gym had a lot more of X, Y, Z, or it was an older gym, so we had a lot of this, that, this. Or you could just generally say, you know what? I don't know how to use this stuff. Can you show me? The gym will happily, or the personal trainer that at the time will be free. And if not, they'll say, you know what? When are you next in? We can arrange it. And because at the end of the day, you got to look at it this way. They want you to feel good in their place. They want you to know how to use their equipment properly. You don't know how to use the equipment properly, you're going to injure yourself. You injure yourself, it's long for the gym because they got to fill out accident report forms and all of that stuff. Yeah. They don't want to do that. It's long. Yeah. So to help them and help yourself, speak to them because they're professional. You got a problem with your car, you're going to speak to a professional from a garage. You're not going to speak to a man who don't drive, who don't know nothing about cars.
But he's been watching 2 YouTube videos.
But man watches all of Jeremy Clarkson's Top Gear, and now I can rip apart your car and replace this.
Them man there
with the turbo. Yeah. Like, it's not gonna happen. And this is what I always say to people as well. This is the massive thing for fitness, and that's another key reason. I know it's like we've scaled off topic, but that's another key reason as well why a lot of people fail in fitness, and that especially in our community. They go to speak to the guy that looks hench, or the guy or the woman that has a decent bum or whatever, and what did you do to get to where you're looking, and try and take it gospel, and not all the time is that person's information good or good for you.
Yeah, but they're good examples of what I want to be. So I see my man that looks hench. I don't know if he's been in Her Majesty's pleasure or not.
I hear that, but this is what I'm saying. Like it says, just because my man looks good doesn't necessarily mean the information he can give you is good. Okay, you get what I'm saying? Or is going to be good for you. So even though he looks good, you can go and ask him, yo, what did you do to whatever, and then take a bit of that information. It's just like in life, you don't take one piece of information as gospel.
Yeah.
You're allowed to you have your opinion on it. And someone tells you, yo, the sky is red. Like, you're going to be like, no, it's not, because I know the sky is blue because I've seen it, and I've seen many pictures. But I know on the other occasion it can have a reddish tint because I've seen it in myself with my own eyes and I've heard about it. And like, you get what I'm saying? There's multiple different avenues for you to pick up information for you to answer that question with. So you're not going to take that one piece of information as gospel and say, yo, just because this person says the sky's red and now I'm holding that as that is everything and the be all and end all. So just because the henchman says, yo, I eat chicken all day, every day, and I don't do cardio, I don't train legs, and I do chest and back and arms. That's it. Like,
stop being red eye, basically.
Exactly.
Red eye ain't good.
Exactly.
And you were saying, so I want to slide onto the food thing now, because with our people, and like you was talking before about seasonings and culturally appropriate food, because I know when people are eating from growing up and knowing people, anything that's not really healthy for us tastes good and we love it. We're addicted to it. I mean, I'm go to them places there, if you're Caribbean, because their season's not to my taste buds. But after a 10-year stretch, from your 20 to your 30s, and then another 5, 15 years consistently of eating
let's just face
our food, it's now causing us a health problem.
Yeah.
So how do we change? No, but can talk on that. Because that's what we do. So, and we're gonna keep doing it. But I want to get fit at the same time,
like
Jay.
I've always said about this thing, like with the food thing. In a sense, we were kind of set up to fail. If you really, really, really want to go back to the very, very beginning, in a sense, we were set up to fail in it, and that because when we were taken from where we were and placed to wherever we were supposed to be for that in time, our way of living, our sources of living, our means of living had all changed. Our diet had now changed and adapted to whatever was around us. So from an early stage, we've had to deal with a lot of high in fat, high in salt style of produce or ways of.
We had a lot of
preserving
scraps.
food. Exactly, we had a lot of scraps. So we've had to, in order to make the scraps taste great, we've had to do all these different things to do that, which is amazing because we've become so ingenuitive and so inventive with the palate and what we can do and that, which is a great thing. But then the downside thing of it is it's like you says, it's become too well known. Like, ask yourself as a person, anyone that cooks, and like I always say this to people in our community and in every community, and I notice like there's a more failing on this question in the ethnic community, not just black people, like Asians and everything. I always say to them, if they cook or like if they know about cooking, when they're making their meals or like getting their food ready, so like when you're seasoning your food, you only stop with the amount of seasoning that you put in on whatever, when that inner internal voice, we all know that internal voice, when the ancestors say no, stop now. When you hear that voice in your head, that's when you stop, innit?
Yeah. And also the colour change.
Yeah.
Because I can put enough on, but if it don't look right, shall I come more in there? Yeah.
Look at that. 2 indicators of
of a practice.
The 2 indicators, and that we've grown up in 2 different households. Yeah. And there are 2 main common denominators of indications of knowing when you put in a seasoning. Now, and we laugh, and we shouldn't, because it's bad. Because, like, let's think about it.
It's second nature, though.
Yeah, it's second nature, innit? And because it's second nature, like, we're not weighing up how much salt's in this one, how much salt's in that one, how much salt's in this one. And salt comes under many different forms, bro.
What do you mean,
it comes under different names.
Like, look how much grams of this and that. No,
so
never.
Exactly.
Ever.
So like we're putting chicken seasoning on there because we know, we're eating chicken and the chicken seasoning's gonna make the chicken taste nice. So we put the chicken seasoning on there. But then if you flip over on the back of the chicken seasoning is just not chicken. The chicken seasoning's chicken seasoning, and it's emulsifier, modernizer, XYZ, and it's salt, and it's this, and it's sodium, this, and rare. All right then, sodium, whatever. That's another word for salt. And salt itself, that's in there. So then you put your chicken seasoning on there. Then you're gonna be like, well, all-purpose seasoning because it's the all-purpose type of style, isn't it? So all-purpose.
Go in, and you know where the measure is. You know the top of it that you bust off. If for the ones that have caps, you can just pour enough in there. And
I know, but that's not how we measure. The measure is take the lid off, do a circle around the bowl. I'm a lying.
No, for real. So
quick circle around the bowl.
Real.
Yeah,
shake and that kind of thing.
Or if it's got the nozzle to shake, it's a shake thing. If it's a packet, you've cut the corner off the packet and it's too shimmy.
You never placed it on a spoon before throwing it in ever. Not what I've witnessed in my
exactly. So so all-purpose, yeah. Boom. Still, once again, flip the back over. It will have salt in there, and it will have other stuff. And I guarantee you'll have salt and a sodium form of something in there. Then you're gonna put, I don't know, curry powder, jerk paste, whatever, and that. And like even if you use the jerk paste, that's natural, no matter whose black brand it is, from Sun Pride to like
Buzz Rocks
or whatever. And that at some point in there's going to be some form of salt or some form of pickling agent. So vinegar contains salt in. Apple cider vinegar contains salt in. You get what I'm saying? So like by the time you've gone and put all these things in there, you've probably actually gone and put like 1 to 2 tablespoons of actual salt in your food.
So how?
But because you've got all the other things around it, it's masked so it doesn't taste that salty. You get what I'm saying?
But salt tastes good, so I want to know what salt to your body now.
So now you're doing that, and then you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna cook it down, and it's gonna cook down in the oven in its own oils and juices. And we're gonna take the oils and the juices, and we're gonna make the gravy. So then you're taking the fats that are dripping out of the meat to make the gravy because it tastes good and it's got all the seasoning and the goodness in there. It's sweet, innit? And then that's what I'm saying. And you're gonna put that in a pan. Then you're gonna add. So that's the salt that you put on the chicken. Now condensed down with the fats from the meat and all of that, permeated into some juice with the oil from the pans anyway. That's then you've collected in a cup, and then you've dashed that to fry down the onions, and then you're gonna add the flour in to make the gravy or whatever.
To thicken it out a bit more.
Yeah, to make your gravy from scratch, or your corn starch or corn powder, whatever. You get me? And that. And then you have two spoon of Bisto or whatever on top of that. You get what I'm saying, bro? Which is more salt. And then you're going to throw salt in the rice. So by the time you've sat down and you've started consuming that plate of brown stew chicken or just cooked down chicken with rice and peas and some steamed veg, in your eyes, you're like, yeah, man, I got steamed veg on my plate. My chicken's baked in the oven. And
I got some peas.
I got peas. I got rice. I've got a balanced diet, which you have got a balanced diet. But when you start breaking down how much of salt's in that, how much starch is in that, then you're like, rah. No wonder I'm retaining water, which is a key thing to why people hold on to weight. No wonder why I've got high blood pressure. No wonder I've
retaining
got
water. Why you?
Yeah, water, because it's called water weight, and it. So then basically you look kind of like bloated and chubby and that because your water.
And it's not necessarily fat; it's water. Right? Okay, it's
water underneath the skin, around the muscles.
Right. Okay.
That's like just basically there, and it's just water in it.
Yeah.
So then it's like you got water retention, you've got high cholesterol, you've got high blood pressure, you've got diabetes, you got what I'm saying? All of these problems and that.
I must say, well, it's culture,
And then
innit? My mother was big. My father did big.
It's in my genetics.
Yeah, African people's always big. It's in our genes, and you know.
Yeah, it's in our genes to be built a certain way. You get me, to be big and strong. But when it's big and strong, that they're referring to, it's not that big and strong. You get me? It's big and strong in a healthier way. It's big. It's 6 foot certain. It's broad like a chest of drawers from IKEA. You get what I'm saying? It's
not big for too much consumption that you need to.
Yeah, it's not like your 14-year-old's looking like an 18-year-old and just big and round. You get me? And that, because like it says, it's a subject that we don't hit a home on. We don't weigh out our portion sizes. We eat to how we feel, innit?
Yeah, because it makes us feel good when we eat.
Exactly. Once we're a child, like that, and this is the thing, and all of these are psychological things handed down from past traumas, from years upon years upon years upon years upon years, from generation to generation. So you get what I'm saying? Anytime there's a trauma in the family, we eat. Anytime there's anything good in the family, we celebrate, we eat, because that's all we ever knew and that's all we could ever do as slaves. So then you get what I'm saying? So then each generation breaks the meaning down, so it's not as a harsher meaning or not as a harsher retaliation to the original thing. So now us as people, once a child gets to a certain age, he's a big child, you're dishing them out a bigger portion of food now. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Who said he's ready to eat that? Why? Because he's tall. Because he's had a growth spurt. He's supposed to have a growth spurt. Yeah. But now you're giving him the same size plate you want to give the dad. You get what I'm saying? A man's 8, 9, 10, 12s and he's eating an adult's portion. So there's no portion control. So then no portion control then now means to overconsumption, which now means to building up fat. So now your 13, 14-year-old's obese. And that's a problem you don't want to hear from the doctor, because you're the one that's making your child obese, because you're not weighing out the amount of food they should have, or you've not even thought about it. And then you're not doing it for your child, you're not doing it for yourself, and you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you don't want when you live and you work hard and you buy food, you don't want your child to starve. Or you might see other people starving and think, let me feed my youth, because more my youth not feed.
This is what I'm saying.
That might be my thought process.
I hear that. And
when I was little as well, I didn't eat much. My mom, you know what I mean? So I want to make sure that my children have.
I hear that. And
me work hard for my youth, them, so they must feed.
And I don't want my kids to go out and be begging food off anyone and anybody when they go anyone's house and eating off anyone and anyone. Okay. I understand that. And then the reason that we keep needing to see is, at the end of the day, as, like, once again, these are all traditional, like I said, traditional myths and traditional things that have been installed that are holding us back in it. And we need to drop that. Like, we need to realize that, regardless, adult, man, child, woman, you get me? Like, it's energy in equals energy out, yeah? So if you want to stay the way you're looking, the amount of energy you put in is the amount of energy equals the amount of energy you can burn. Yeah? If you want to lose weight, the amount of energy you burn is slightly higher than the energy you put in. If you want to gain weight, the amount of energy you put in is slightly higher than the amount of energy you burn. Now, that is it. Yeah. Like Einstein says, everybody in their mum and that can tell you E equals MC squared. You get me? But none of us know what exactly E and the MC and the squared is and what it is equaling. But yet still we all know what the equation is. So why can't we understand this equation? Yeah? Because it's just as important. And if we understand it and realize it and then adapt it and just look at it, your child that's running up and down at 10 is going to constantly be hungry, but not only is he going to constantly be hungry, he's going to be thirsty. So give him water to hydrate himself so he's not dehydrated and he will eat less sweet stuff. Give him more fruit, but not too much fruit, because at the end of the day, too much fruit contains too much sugars and stuff like that. So it's all about a balance, but just letting that person know the right balance. Like, if you had a car and your car's a 1.2 litre, you know that, your car is a 1.2 litre. You're not going to try and put in the same amount of petrol that a 1.6 litre would take, because what will happen? The petrol will start overflowing out your car and it will mash up the performance. Just as much as if you had a 1.6 litre car, you're not going to put in enough petrol as a 1 litre car in, because it's going to have changes on the performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why don't we take this as serious on our body?
Yeah.
and that is our downfall.
It is our
not
downfall.
Understanding how much we need to consume, because we just look at it as, oh, we're hungry, or
we react.
I don't want my child to starve, or I don't want, you get what I'm saying? I don't want my child to be out there begging people food. I don't want my child eating off street. I don't want, you get what I'm saying?